My name's Steve Vargo. I'm 28 years old. I work in finance at Fidelity Investments down in Nashua. Live in Merrimack, New Hampshire with my wife, Katie, who just got married last summer, and my dog, Izzy. In terms of lifestyle, it's actually kind of normal from what you would say, kind of like 9 to 5, so I work 8:30 to 5, and then try to fit my training in around that schedule. In high school, played soccer, skied cross country, played baseball, switched from soccer over to running my junior year, but skiing was kind of like my main sport, then skied competitively throughout college for 4 years. So I started triathlons in, I think 2009 was the first year I did it. Got into it actually because my roommate from college was a swimmer and I was a skier, so I kind of did the running, biking, out of water type of activities, and he did the in-water activities, and we had a bet on who could beat who. So the swim did not go well for me. Never has gone great, but really didn't go well at that point. But the bike and run went a lot worse for him. So that's how I started, and then kind of became more of a lifestyle after that. My coach is Colin Cook. We've been coming up on 3 years of working with Colin. I really felt like it could take my results to the next level. I'd kind of been self-coached for the previous years before that, and feel like I learned a lot, being more organized, more structured, not overtraining, which I think was probably a big problem that I had from time to time. But main goal at the time was to qualify for Kona, and figured I needed all the help I could get to get there. I think kind of when I switched over to working with Colin, I don't know if you just step in that much because I feel like I'm pretty good at following the schedule and not really questioning it, and the results have flowed through. But I think there's definitely some times where it's like slow down, kind of put you in check a little bit and make sure you're not doing a little too much. But I feel like I'm pretty good at just following the schedule, which as an athlete kind of makes it easier. All I have to do is just go online and see what I'm supposed to do for that day and then go do it. It really takes the thinking out of it and helps to keep you accountable as well. So right now it's kind of the off season, so it's I think he's given me a little bit more freedom for extracurricular activities that I've been doing. But definitely leading up to the Ironman build, I feel like we're in contact at least every day, either through email or text or phone calls. And then as we get closer to the races, definitely more personal contact, phone calls, strategy, and so forth. I've improved in all 3 disciplines of the sport, and then besides that, I think you improved kind of off the field, if you will, as well, from like mental standpoint of putting together a race season, nutritionally, recovery, even as a whole lifestyle in general. The balance of working with a coach, balancing family life and fun together, kind of puts things in perspective for you. So first Ironman I did, thought I was going to crush it and do like 10 hours, and I think I came in 11:40 something. And then I took some time off actually from the sport, didn't really race for a year. Then started with Colin, I think it was almost like 3 seasons later. And next Ironman I did, same race, Ironman Lake Placid. I did 10, 16, and qualified for Kona in that first Ironman. So that's an hour-and-a-half drop. The third time I did Lake Placid, dropped another 15 minutes to 10:01, and then this past October did a 9:20 in Louisville. So different course, but we'll call it a 40 plus minute PR. So thanks, Coach. In general, I think it's good to have a schedule, right? So the schedule every week is pretty similar in terms of the structure of the workouts, right? So certain days or certain workouts, you can kind of know what's coming ahead of time, but it really kind of puts your body and mind in the groove to know what's coming. And I think ultimately it's a good mix of being able to put different, how everything puts together. It's like a math equation, right? So we have to put all the different workouts together to come out with the end result that we want. So I think the mix is good, and I don't know, it's just a good routine to get in with the sport, but also kind of like in life too. I know what's happening. I know when these races are. I know when this workout's going to be. So it helps to plan out your day as well. But as you get closer to an Ironman, you can notice the build, right? The build up on the Saturday long rides, Sunday long runs, and then even start incorporating longer rides during the week and the intensity on the bike on Tuesday. So you can definitely tell the workouts, how they build up to the race, and then after the race for the downtime, the recovery, and then the phase that I'm in now, getting back in shape. So. Well, probably like a lot of triathletes, I'm type A, kind of OCD, so when Colin's very rarely, but every once in a while, sometimes the minutes don't add up. So sometimes I look at that and I'm like, I don't know, I kind of question things a little bit. But no, other than that, I mean, the workouts are great. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of everything in the sport since I've been doing it for a long time, so I know what all the abbreviations. I know what FTP means. I know, what minutes are, and working with Colin for 3 years now, I know his kind of intricacies of when he writes the workout, so I know what he means by certain things when he puts them in there. That being said, I feel like it's pretty standard across the industry in triathlon in general. So I have no trouble understanding and completing the workouts as written. I mean, it's down to the minute. I mean, the warm-up specific, the workouts the meat of the exercise for that day is very specific, and then, cool down's a cool down. But, it's very specific, and I think it depends on the day of the week too, right? So, I mean, like if you do like a Wednesday run this time of year, it's pretty straightforward because it's, 20-minute warm-up, 3 by a mile and 10-minute cool down. But as you get closer to the big meat of the season, like the big long rides on Saturday or Sunday, or the big swim sets that are 6,000 yards and so forth, they're really detailed. Sometimes I even have to write them down. I like trying to just memorize them, but 6,000 yards is a long way. Yeah, I think sometimes, like personally, I'll like hit a wall and tell myself that it's not possible to go faster than that wall. Whether it be like certain paces or certain race times that I feel like I'm just stuck at, and kind of communicating with Colin, my coach, and just saying, hey, I feel like I'm stuck here. For example, I've run a half marathon between 120 and 121 like 8 times and only broken 120 like one time. So it's kind of like the training and the communication with the coach and the coach's response to be like, yeah, you can go faster than this. It's kind of a mental hurdle for you. But I think it even comes into play more into long course, especially for the first Ironman that I did, kind of building that confidence. I feel like confidence in the sport is very important, and having your coaches behind you to tell you, no, you can do this. Like the first Ironman I did, it was horrible. Pretty much like walked, ran, dragged my way to the finish line. And I remember the second one I did, in the course of a 10-hour race, you always have highs and lows, but I remember at one point not feeling great. I'm like, oh my God, this is just going to happen again. Like, this is going to be horrible. But have to remember back to your training and what your coach has done and the advice that the coach has given you to push through it and to make it, because it is a 10-hour day and it's not going to be fun at some points during that day. I mean, personally, I think when you're looking for a coach, the first thing you're looking for, maybe not the best thing, but people look at success, right? And I've had a lot of success with Colin, and I know a lot of other athletes have as well. But I think more importantly, anyone can just go online and Google training workouts and find out a basic training plan, right? But kind of what we mentioned earlier, it's the communication with the coach and being able to work with the coach on a consistent basis in person as well. So Colin lives, 20, 25 minutes with me, so I get to train with Colin quite a bit. And just like today, we had a big group ride of 20 people together with Colin leading the ride, so he's able to watch what you're doing and see your training. And then on top of that, just the communication with the coach you have to know your athletes to make sure to take them to the next level. Again, anyone can just put anything on the internet, but you might not get the mental side, the small tips, the improvements that you need to make to take your racing to a new level. Part of it's on the athlete too, right? So you have to put the time into like comments and to get something back, right? So if you just go about your training and upload the data, that's one thing, but to put information in there for your coach to give you feedback, I think for me it's kind of like it's like the positive reinforcement, like especially if you're having a few bad days and the coach is like, yeah, just work through it, it's going to be tough right now, but you'll be fine in a week. And just kind of give you that mental hurdle. You might know deep down you'll be fine in a week, but just to have someone else saying, yeah, you're good. Like, this is part of the plan. You know, you're in a big build right now. You're supposed to be tired. You'll feel better when you start to taper. So, you know, Colin comments on workouts quite a bit. I mean, multiple times a week if I put stuff in there, which I haven't been lately. But when I am during big builds, I get a comment, I mean, almost daily. So things come up, you know, all the time, right? So, for example, I have to take an exam this spring. So working with my coach, who probably is going to want me to train more than I'll be able to, but being able to work around, you know, that is going to be really important. Understanding that, you know, there's that work-life triathlon balance in there as well. Or other things like sickness. You know, you get sick from time to time, to be able to readjust, or specific things like next week I'm potentially doing a turkey trot on Thanksgiving, and that's not in my calendar, so probably gonna be talking to my coach about that maybe after this little interview. I think, kind of just to reiterate, we hit on a lot of stuff, but I think I've really enjoyed working with Colin. I think, and we can't maybe say the same for other athletes, but Colin and I are more than just coach-athlete relationship. Colin and I have become friends over the last 3 years. Colin came to my wedding last summer, so it's kind of developed more into a relationship, friendly relationship, more than just the coach and athlete, which I think that's really important, maybe the most important and biggest influence that you could have on an athlete, to be able to trust that person, to be friends with that person, and help them enjoy the sport. Because ultimately, without that, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you don't enjoy who you're working with, success is going to be hard to find.